Cool, blimey, Liberace. That's not where I wanted the candelabra. Oh, I'm glad I'm out of this toilet. Guys, I'm back. I'm back from Vegas. I'm back from the toilet. How are you?
I'm so glad you're back.
Viva las toilet. Viva las toilet.
It's busy in there.
Yeah, so yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. What's going on?
Liberace tinkling the old ivories? Absolutely.
Yeah, he played the organ.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time.
It's good to have you
but I'm back now, and there's lots of stuff for us to talk about. Obviously, we've had some pretty serious, awesome TV shows that have just finished, so I think we'll talk about those. I would also just like to quickly mention what a lovely job you did while I was stuck in the toilet.
No.
We could hear you banging away in there.
It was a little bit off-putting.
Well, every now and again a little tinkle came out.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think we were wrong, obviously.
Yeah, you're obviously wrong. First of all, Transformers, the movie, the cartoon is the best toy film ever.
We weren't disagreeing with you.
I said that. I wasn't disagreeing with you. Yeah.
Well, you didn't say it was the best ever.
Okay.
Well, no, but we wouldn't disagree with you. That's your choice.
If it goes on Mount Rushmore, I think it's fair to say it's one of the best ever.
Yeah. Well, it's the best ever, and it's got the best soundtrack.
But that's why we do a Mount Rushmore, so that they're 4 equal choices in no particular order.
Yeah.
Well, I would put...
Anytime you want to go back to the toilet, you just feel free.
And also,
that's fine, mate. I think that'll work well.
Also, Paul, I'd just like to point out where you said about the connection to the comic storyline, Target 2006.
Yeah.
Obviously, the film is actually set in 2005. That was an error on the writers of the comics part. Just want to point that out.
Is that right? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah. The actual film set in 2005.
I did not remember that.
Yeah.
So they based the entire future of the British comics around something called Target 2006.
And it was actually 2005.
Oh my God. I must have blocked that out as a what? As a 14-year-old kid, I must have blocked that out then.
But every time the film comes on, I say wrong because I go wrong.
Actually,
maybe it was set right at the end of 2005 and just rolled into 2006.
Yeah. And you were right. That film was made to launch the new toy range, and which is partly why every single old character got killed.
Yeah,
just completely wipe that out.
It was savage.
That was cool. Obviously, Master of the Universe, amazing film. I think we've talked about that before. Love that. Toy Story shit. And so is Rock'em Sock'em Bollocks. I've never even seen it.
So you think it's shit, but you've never even seen it?
That's why I know I don't need to see it.
You are full of absolute shit.
Oh my God.
I can cut all of this out, Paul.
Do you know what?
That's the most ridiculous fucking hot take I've ever heard in my entire fucking life.
Don't fuck with the man who edits the podcast. Don't fuck with the man who edits the podcast.
You would love that film, Cole.
No.
No. No. Okay.
I know I wouldn't. That's why I've not seen it. Well,
Liberace didn't put that candelabra far enough up the ivories, did he?
Yeah, he didn't really. Never reached the point.
Well, you're outgunned 2-1 there, mate.
Okay, fair enough. Thundercats, yeah. They should have made a film on that, really, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
The rest of your stuff I was okay with, yeah.
Great opinions. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Gutted you weren't a part of that episode.
Oh, for a minute I was really worried that your opinion would count for something. Phew,
but I tell you what, those Michael Bay Transformers films, the first one is alright. It is pretty good, but it was fun. But they were rubbish.
Horrendous.
Awful movies.
Bumblebee was brilliant.
No, Bumblebee was shit. Bumblebee was shit. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Yeah, it's shit.
It was good. That's
it's
why.
shit because I haven't seen it.
Better than the
This is what you think.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Argue things are shit that you haven't seen.
It's so weird.
I'll tell you what is shit. All 3 Indiana Jones films.
Yeah, because you haven't seen them. Oh my God.
Oh, Paul, I keep seeing things with snakes in and thinking of you. It's really annoying me now. Every time I see a snake.
Paul wouldn't like that.
No.
No, that is literally what I say to Mickey. On every...
No, I'm not.
What was it? There was something really snaky the other day, and I was like, fucking hell, I hope Paul doesn't watch this.
It won't happen. If I know it's there, I won't watch it.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You don't know these things appear.
No, you have to watch them once. It's like the first Predator film with Arnie. There's only one, which I think is amazing in a whole jungle film. There's just one for about 10 seconds. And then there's one in the new one, Prey, which she stabs and kills.
Yeah.
And that's all. I didn't know that was coming. Now I know where that is. No problem at all. Shut your eyes, put it on mute, away you go.
What about the Snake in Superman 2 that Ursula shoots with her eyes?
Yeah, same thing. Not keen. I can sort of deal with it because it's sci-fi, which is like I didn't really like when Eric Roberts was the master, and he went down in. I could just about
it was very
deal with that. Yeah, I didn't like. Do you remember when they brought Davros back with Peter Capaldi and his henchman was a snake, but he was a man and he split.
Oh yeah.
I just at one point in it I was like, there's something about the way he's moving. I don't like the way he's walking, and I was like, oh fucking hell, it's coming now. I know what's coming now.
What about eels?
In context, splashing around in water, loads of them. They're okay.
Out of context? What's an out of context eel?
Just jellied. One slipping on the ground.
Oh, okay.
It's the motion. Okay. It's the motion. Like, even though it is animated, when Jafar becomes a snake at the end of Aladdin, it's really, I don't know what I'm doing in my hand, it's fucking annoying me doing it. It's that motion. It's that.
What about Jungle Book?
Same thing. It looks horrible when it's done, when it's the body slithering on. When it's a talking snake, can deal with that because that's not real. But it's the motion on the body. I've seen some really, really cool. Loads of toy creators are putting some really cool indie picks up at the moment. And because obviously the figures are out now, and there's some really good ones, and some are doing some amazing ones where they've got the toy, the plastic cobra, and it's fine until they do where it's faded out, where it's blurred, because it's just the shape and the style of it, and it's just weird. Anyway, anything with snakes in is shit.
So this is our Mount Rushmore of snake movies.
Well, Paul's allowed to say they're all
if
shit.
You do
he
that,
hasn't seen any of them.
That will be the only avatar I will not be sharing on any of my pages or reposting if we do that. I'm just about okay with Serpentar as well.
I was going to say, like, in the He-Man toys, there's a load of snakes.
Didn't buy any of them.
Even like Teela's got a snake head thing.
Didn't buy any of them because at that age I was worried they might come to life.
Oh, fair enough. Well, after your Toy Story discussion, you probably think they probably do. Bloody you and your statues coming to life. I heard it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, let's talk about some cool stuff. Let's talk. Chris, have you seen them? Are they shit? Or
well, if I haven't seen them, you'll know what my opinion is very soon.
Well, luckily, I think we've all seen them, and we're talking about Mandalorian season 3 and Picard season 3. Oh, what symmetry we have there!
What symmetry? This is the way.
Where do you want to start?
I feel Picard will be talking about less.
Okay.
Probably, I think.
Let's talk about Picard.
Come on then, new boy, back on the podcast. What do you think?
Well, it was the return of the king of endings of an episode, that last one. I think
someone sat there and went, we need to do a greatest hits medley here, don't we?
So we're talking about those series as a whole briefly, and then more detail.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what there is to say. It was really good, wasn't it? It was nostalgic and an actually decent story. There were some great bits, some great characters, some great cameos. It was nice to see a lot of the old cast back. Generally, there wasn't much to moan about. The story was pretty solid. It went somewhere. It was contained. It was wasn't the most challenging of storylines, but
did you get a sense of, I think any word I can use is disappointment when it was revealed the Borg at the end, because they'd set up the whole way through the changelings. And then they just completely almost forgot about the changelings. And then in the last little epilogue bit went, oh yeah, don't worry.
We'll fix that.
Crust has found a way to find every changeling ever for the rest of time. It's no problem in 4 seconds.
Whereas it was disappointing like it was Borg full stop.
They were trying to pull, I think they were trying to throw too much in. I think I always knew it was heading for the Borg. I think that's the only thing with Picard. It's always been heading to the Borg. They've always come back to, it's their the safe card, isn't it?
Well, it feels like
go back to Locutus.
Yeah, it feels like they can't get over Locutus when it comes to Picard, and that's always got to be a theme that he has to revisit.
But they sort of did. I thought they resolved it all in the season 2, where I forget her name, Dr.
Girardi.
Girardi, thank you. She merged, and I thought that was it. And I thought, great, well done. You've cleared the table of the Borg. Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest issue, isn't it? That they ignored all of that. Sorry, Chris.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No,
listen. I'm gonna shock you both here, and I'm gonna say that I enjoyed a season of Picard more than I enjoyed a season of The Mandalorian, and that is not saying anything against The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I bloody loved this series of Picard. I thought it was brilliant. On your point about the Borg, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I think they did such a shit job with the Borg in season 2 that we needed as much a redemption of the Borg as we did a redemption of Picard and the show in and of itself. I will say that I think Dr. Girardi's collective is a different collective to the Borg that we see at the this is the Borg that we saw at the end of Voyager, and I got a feeling that
that's how I rationalised it.
That's how I did as well. After Janeway had done what she did, I felt like the Borg was cut off, perhaps from all the other Borg cubes around the galaxy, and that is, that's probably why they all had their own sort of individual queens, etc. Oh my God, no! I loved this series. I thought it was brilliant. I thought that I don't think the changelings were used enough, because they're so OP. It can become kind of a crutch, especially with the developments they made, the evolution of the changelings to make them undetectable. But I can't think of what to say, but I had loads to say about Picard. I just felt like each of the characters was written better than they had been written before. I felt like Picard did more Picard things. I thought Riker was the star of it. I thought Riker was amazing in this show. I thought he was brilliant. Data's story, it was a bit... but every other character I thought was brilliant, and they all had, lines that it was just watching it and saying, does that feel like an action or a line that character would have said in the Next Generation, or as close to that as possible? And that's all I was doing, was going, can I resolve that with what I know of the character prior to this show?
It's a question, because there's no way, if you're getting the band back together, you wouldn't have had Brent Spiner back, because that would have been really weird.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But from a narrative perspective, this story makes no difference whether Data's in it or not, really.
No. Other than the whole getting around the changelings, on the ship, but they could have done that in another way. There could have been another. Another MacGuffin that got them through that issue, I suppose.
I think Data's like one of the strangest characters in Next Generation. Probably gives me the most conflict, in that, like, he was like pushed up as like one of the main things originally, and I mean, I've never overly liked the character. I've nothing wrong with him, and he's had some good moments, but he's never been a favourite of mine. And I do find him pretty annoying, like. The way the way he's written sometimes, I'm talking in Next Generation, not.
It annoyed me in the movies when they turned him into the comic relief because they needed a comic relief angle for a big screen movie. They needed a comic relief angle.
I think it was a mistake to ever give him emotions. I think that was a generation when that happened. I just thought you've just taken away the thing that made him interesting.
Mm. Yeah.
And to be able to get over that, I just feel that's a hurdle too far. You know what I mean? Like, yes, you can have an AI that can mimic emotions. Totally get that. But to actually have them, I think, is a different thing. And I just think they should, because if you talk about like C-3PO and that in Star Wars, they haven't really got them. That's just the way that they're
it's programming.
They're programmed.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a better route to go. I think it was good to bring him back, and I think I like the way that they brought him back. Like I say, it's so overly convoluted, the different ways they've had to bring him back and like try and de-age him. I mean, it's such a difficult character to bring back because in theory he shouldn't have aged, all that stuff, So I know they built in like some of the kind of story reason for it.
It's plausible enough for me to get on board with the fact that he's going to look old anyway.
Yeah, with the Picard body and this whole new body, and based on the way that I built the Picard, but you can get by it, and it gets rid of all that. So yeah, that was fine. Probably my biggest grief really was the way they treated Worf. I thought they used him as comic relief way too much. I mean, he's the straight man, I think, to someone else being funny.
I always found him quite. I found his little one-liners that were at conflict with the other crew quite funny, even in the Next Generation.
Yeah, but
I think that's the subversion.
He was supposed to, because he was just like, "I'm not a merry man." It's one of my favourite lines ever from Q Who, but it wasn't. He didn't do it on purposely funny.
And even the character in Deep Space Nine when he was with Gallic when they got kidnapped by the Dominion and they got trapped in that prison and Gallic was pretending that he wanted to join Starfleet and he was like, "Mr. Worf, you're no fun at all," and he was like, "Good." He wasn't being funny. He was being straight.
He wasn't trying to be funny, and I think in this he was on the borderline of doing the Arnie lines rather than doing it. But
I didn't see that, but
I mean, it might be me being a bit too sensitive, and like I say, it was just too much of him, and like this whole him like trying to be enlightened and doing all this stuff. It's just Worf is a fucking badass, and I don't want to see Granddad Worf. I want to see badass Worf.
I didn't mind the characterisation of him. I just thought that I thought he was underused.
Yeah,
I feel like us nitpicking at the quality of Worf and whether he should be funny or not is completely missing how utterly garbage season 1 and 2 were, and it was amazing in comparison.
Strongly agree. I have seen them, and they are.
The fact that we are, the fact that we're nitpicking whether or not the characterization of Worf was adequate enough shows how much of a better show this was than seasons 1 and 2.
Oh yeah,
very
this
fair.
Is definitely
so good.
It's very fair.
It's so annoying because this is the show we wanted to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's better than some of the movies, the Next Generation movies.
Better than all of them apart from First Contact, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
We've been waiting for that for a long time. So I was so happy with it because I'm used to so much shit when it comes to the Next Generation.
And I enjoyed it. I say I'm totally with you. I enjoyed it. It was a real treat to get to Friday, or as I discovered for the last 3 episodes, to get to midnight Thursday or Friday morning and watch it. It was a real treat. So yeah, I'm completely with you. This was an enjoyable season to watch overall.
But let's talk about some of the things that were good in it, because we're not. That lad that played his son, Ed Spelliers or whatever his name is, he was really good as Jack Crusher. He was brilliant. I was well impressed with him. Yeah, but he was so good in that role.
Is he next? Are they doing anything with the post-credit scene?
Well, that's I think probably a good discussion to have now is like, what do we think is next? I mean, I haven't seen anything officially announced. I keep hearing the words Star Trek Legacy being banded around. So I don't know if that's the planned thing, but obviously they basically set up, haven't they, an Enterprise G, which is
Seven,
the big
Raffi, yeah, FYI.
with Captain Seven, second in command Raffi, Ensign Crusher, whatever he is, whether Crusher or Picard, I haven't actually confirmed now.
Yeah.
And you got
LaForge,
George's daughter,
yeah,
who has to remind everyone she's George's daughter. And I'm assuming we'll probably get the other Georgie daughter. I don't know if she's on that ship as well.
I don't know. She might be working back at the museum with her dad.
Yeah,
maybe.
Or
that's where she started, wasn't she?
Task Force. Could be the new Shelby.
Shelby. I can't believe she was in it. That was amazing.
I can't believe she was killed in about 4 seconds.
I know, that wasn't.
It was awesome to see her.
Why did they kill the two best female characters, Shelby
and Ro?
It was good seeing Ro, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, but again, don't kill her. She's too bloody good to be killed. Were you surprised that no one from the main cast was killed?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
I actually thought they were killing Picard off. I thought that would be his.
I think they were always aiming to have the wrap up that they should have done at the end of the movies.
I know.
Well, maybe not playing the poker. They've done that already.
Yeah, I know
they did that. All good things, but
that you don't get a proper ending that way. But
yeah, I think that's what they were aiming for.
In my head, I always thought that Patrick Stewart would want that finality out of it, to be honest. And
I didn't know if they would, because they'd already killed him once in season 1. I wasn't expecting it myself, but
yeah, they could have just repaired him anyway.
Yeah.
It does cheapen it anyway that he's already dead. In reality.
Oh yeah.
That's not a terrible body.
It's all dead.
I think, to be honest, again, Picard was the worst bit in this show. For me, I just did not find him that interesting.
He's old, isn't he, as well?
It's just
so difficult to watch.
It's too old.
It's difficult. It's a difficult ensemble piece now because you're treating them differently. You're also trying to fit in a relatively solid crew that was left over from the last ones as well. The best two were left probably. So I did like Cabrera, but you were left with Rios, weren't you? His name of real life.
Yeah, I liked Rios.
You were left with Seven, who's great, and Raffi, who's great. But so they were trying to crowbar everyone else into it and introduce Jack Crusher as well. It had a lot of heavy lift and introduced Forge's family and find a feasible way to get the gang back together. It had a lot of heavy lifting to do. But
I liked Captain Shaw as well.
Yeah, well, she hadn't died. He was brilliant.
He was good. He was a good addition.
It's a very different type of Star Trek captain. It's very. Yeah. It is one of those things where sometimes it moves very far away from what Roddenberry wanted. But then that said, it has to, given the nature of such a vast cosmos. It's going to have to happen that way, isn't it? You're going to have corruption. You're going to have people wanting more and base human desires rising to the surface of greed and power. It's just impossible to not have that. So it's and that said, Deep Space Nine was my favourite of all the Treks, to be honest. So it was telling more of those it was leaning slightly away from the centre of hope is amazing and we've outgrown hate type thing. So
I think Deep Space Nine got the free ticket because it wasn't set on a Federation starship. And I think that's to me, if you want to be true to Roddenberry's vision, then you just don't mess with Starfleet.
Yeah.
You keep Starfleet and the Federation as the good thing. Yes, you can have things trying to infiltrate it, and you can have things going on around it, and characters having conflict around it. But the actual Federation and that, in my view, shouldn't be compromised. And I think that was where. If
you look at the whole history, right back from the original, the OG crew, right back at Undiscovered Country and these sort of things, Starfleet's always had levels of corruption.
It's
always been rooted in corruption.
Well, it's always had people in it that are trying to corrupt it, but I would always say that the actual organisation itself hasn't been corrupt.
I agree, yeah.
But again, this is where I think Discovery went slightly down the wrong path with the way that they showed the failure of the Federation and when they moved to the future and how it fell apart. And I was just like, that's not what I want to see. I don't want to know that the Federation, especially if they are going to build this gap now between the end of this and moving towards
Discovery. Yeah.
And where Discovery is, nobody wants to know that whatever Seven doesn't really matter because fucking Federation falls apart in about a week.
Yeah. Well, they found a great way to undo all the Kirk history in the 2009 movie, didn't they? Quite cleverly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
God loves the retcon.
Yeah. Anything with time travel, I think you can write off anyway. And the fact that they try and travel to the future means that it might not be the same future. So.
Correct.
That's true, yeah.
Correct, Biff Tannen.
Yep. I've got my almanac. I'm ready. So yeah, that's Picard. Anything else to say on that?
It was the ending we deserved.
What did you think of the attack on the Death Star?
With the Enterprise. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was even like they even had to destroy the core at the centre, which is exactly the same as the second Death Star.
Tongues ran firmly in cheek.
Yeah, it was very tongue-in-cheek.
It was good, and I loved the fact that it was Crusher firing everything and fighting her way through that. That was cool.
Yeah.
And the fact that Deanna does a bit of driving to redeem herself and crashing the Enterprise in Generations. So
you just have to park all they'd have never got out of that. The plot was all over the place, would they? But it's fun.
Yeah, I love the way that the Enterprise didn't get a single scratch on it in that attack run as well.
No,
not a dent.
No, and it's just the fact that I just had to smile and go with it at the end of the penultimate episode. I was like, okay, so a starship that houses 1,500 people is being manned by 7. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. And they're going to take down a whole Borg empire. Got it. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Go for it.
Well, the other thing that I thought was a bit suspect in terms of logic was the fact that the Titan could get away from being controlled by going invisible. So basically, they're saying if the Borg can't see them, they can't control them. So,
I didn't get that.
All you've got to do is hide behind an asteroid.
It's the 3-year-old kid theories. If I put my hands over my arms, I can't see you, you can't see me.
That was fun. That was a bit of a let's leave the logic at home. But no, it was good. It was good. It was again, a series. You can't fault it.
It was a really good series.
You can't fault it. And Chris, you hit the nail on the head. What an improvement. I mean,
massive.
Season 2, I thought you were going to kill yourself, Chris.
No, I was close. Killing someone.
Season 2, the first 3 episodes, I was in.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great, alternate future, these these awful Starfleet people, and I thought, I'm in on this, and then I was like, this is interminably boring.
I think the thing that got me when you were saying about how you enjoyed the first few episodes, I think it was just the fact that it was a space show that ended up set in present day Los Angeles, effectively. I was like, there's no money invested in this show whatsoever. They don't care.
They don't.
So yeah, I think that was the thing that put me off at the beginning, and then it went downhill from there.
Yeah,
they could have done something so good with that as well. That's what's annoying. It
was social commentary force fed down your throat.
100% right. 100% right. Absolutely. It couldn't have been more blatant, could it?
And the whole storyline with Picard and his dad and that was so crap.
It was unnecessary. I think we visited enough of Picard's family history when he went back there after the Borg incident, and then in Generations when his brother and Renee were killed, weren't they? And I think they visited enough of the Picard. I didn't need any unseen. Not after such a long time. The time to tell those stories were during the Next Gen at its height, not down the road as it's on now.
How did Picard end up being sensible and that he had a mental mother and a psycho dad? I mean, it's just like...
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was all a bit Ichabod Crane for me.
Yes. And the only other thing I was disappointed not to see in season 3 was will Crusher come back?
That was what I was going to say. That was one thing I was expecting to see as well. If you're doing a greatest hits medley, then bring back Wesley.
Well, we saw Wesley in season 2, didn't we? Wesley has a job and he's off.
Yeah, but
doing
again,
things,
that went nowhere, did it? With taking what's the face with him. We just needed a sharp.
He was a casualty of another shit storyline, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We did need another sharp.
I think we should have had, what's his name, Transporter Chief O'Brien or whatever.
Yeah,
from Deep Space Nine. He should have come back. Cole Meany should have been in it, absolutely. And he's he's still acting a lot. They could have got him back.
Yeah.
I wish they'd done that because he's the only bloody Deep Space Nine actor that I haven't met.
Oh, really?
You met Jadzia?
Yeah. He's the only one I haven't met.
Oh, haven't? Oh, sorry, he said have met, as I say. Yeah, so yeah. Oh, of course,
I've
met
all of the others.
Yeah.
And I've met all of Next Generation crew apart from Picard.
Wow. He's dead anyway, so.
He's to me.
You wouldn't be.
There's nothing behind the eyes, Colin.
Yeah, it's a shark.
He wouldn't know you were there.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about a shark, he's got those.
He has got a new memoir though coming out, hasn't he? Patrick Stewart. He might be putting his fingerprint on stuff because he can't write anymore.
Yeah.
You old git.
Bless him.
Anyway, that's Picard. Thumbs up generally.
Yes,
they did do a good job.
Yeah.
They did a very good job.
I loved it.
It was a pleasure to watch.
Concur, number one.
Yeah. So let's talk about Mandalorian season 3. So again, we'll do an overview and then get to the end.
Yeah, sounds good.
So highlight General Grievous.
Let's agree, it was probably each of all of our highlights, wasn't it? Seeing General Grievous back. So
General Grievous back.
This is never going away. It
never is.
What would have been
Star Wars property from now on?
It would have been better if it was General Grievous on a skiff. That would have probably made my day. It was a good season. It was a surprising season, really. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
I'm not sure it went anywhere, really.
Yeah, it was
I don't think it did.
Meandering.
Yeah.
Some respects. It felt, by the end of it, though, very much like the end.
100%,
it did, didn't it?
100%. Yeah. And I think
they could
totally
stop making
deliberate.
it now if they wanted to.
Totally deliberate.
I think it's going to become the Bo-Katan show from now on, and I think he'll be on that farm.
I think you're right. If they're world building now, which they're going to do to fill this gap, because obviously you've got your movies and coming with it as well, then to be fair, what they've done is perfect. He's alive, Grogu's alive, Luke's out there, Ahsoka's out there. You've got, Grief Karga, you've got Bo-Katan, you've got whole groups of Mandalorians, you've got whatever you've got First Order starting to rise in the background. You don't need another Mandalorian series to be able to continue to tell those stories. I think and I think they dipped their toe in the water with this with Book of Boba Fett in terms of, you know what, we're just going to give you a load of anthology stories from this era, because we know you love this era. You've got, you recognise your biker scouts or your troopers or whatever it might be, and all those sorts of things. We're going to give you all that. We can tell great stories, and I don't mind that. But the only thing is, this narrative started a few things, didn't go anywhere, and I was at the end of it going, I don't know where this is. I don't know what they've achieved in this series.
I mean, they did. I mean, we've got to give them credit. They achieved a lot. They found Mandalore, re-established Mandalore. They defeated Moff Gideon. So, in terms of if you sort of see the 3 series as 3 films, a trilogy, it was the end. It basically was the end of a story. I think, for me, I think we said this before, our opportunity with The Mandalorian is to make the show about Mandalorians, an anthology about Mandalorians, and this first 3 seasons were the story of Al Mando and Grogu. And like you say, the Book of Boba Fett, we have the Book of Bo-Katan, we have the Book of Pos Vizsla, or, whatever you wanted to do with different Mandos, I think that would be an interesting way to do it. I definitely think purposely parking Din and Grogu's story now to wait for the Dave Filoni film. And then that will pick their story up mainly again. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know. I haven't even heard what the the plan for season 4 is. I know Favreau
is it announced? There is a season 4? Is it announced?
So Favreau and Filoni a while ago in an interview said they had plans for lots of seasons. Well, it definitely said it wasn't, but that was, again, it could just be that they were lying to get to the end of the season so that it was more of a surprise that they wrapped it up.
I suppose there's also a possibility that, like, with the emergence of Pedro Pascal being sort of an A-list star, that maybe that has changed the trajectory of future seasons a little bit. Because
he's
definitely
a voice actor now, isn't he?
Exactly. It changed
the
end of...
voiced by Pedro Pascal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it changed the end of the season because he was supposedly going to remove his helmet, and then scheduling conflicts meant that he couldn't come back and remove his helmet. So, I mean, I don't know how much truth there is in that, but there's definitely the possibility that he has changed the way that they pursue the Mandalorian moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that they don't take his helmet off ever again anyway, because someone who's grown up with Judge Dredd and that kind of thing, I think that's quite endearing. That's something they should stick to. That's what they're going to say.
I think it's more that I think that Disney would be desperate to do it to show the star that they have in the suit.
This is the thing, isn't it? Because, and it's with all the superhero movies and everything, they've all got I don't know whether it's actors' vanity or an insistence of their agents, whatever it is. There is, Marvel got over it by just going, do you know what, fuck it, no secret identities. That's not the universe we're telling. None. Obviously they put Peter Parker back there at the end of it, but they're like, there's no secret identities, just get on with it, that's who you are, you're all mates, call each other by your name, the world just deals with it. But it's always been that way, isn't it? Always been that way. Carl Urban was the one who really first broke that with an amazing Dredd by just going, no, Dredd don't show his face, so I'm not showing my face.
Yeah, I mean, with the Marvel stuff, I remember back in the old days of the Marvel Mix podcast. What a great podcast. I remember ranting quite a lot about...
I've never heard it, so it's shit.
Yeah. Well...
I was on it and it was shit.
Again, my biggest bugbear was all the posters. None of them had their suit faces on. They all just had their faces out. And I was like, well, I don't want to see that because I'm a big nerd. And I like the characters more than I like the actors.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, again, bring it back to Mandalorian, I guess. What were the highlights of the season for you guys?
Go on, Chrissy. I'm going to try and think of some while you...
Yeah, no, I did have...
I
did have highlights, and I don't think the season was bad. I just think it was all right, and it didn't hit any massive highs for me, and it didn't hit any real lows either. It was just all right, and I think I just didn't... the story didn't grab me, and it didn't really feel like it went anywhere, and I know you said that it went everywhere, but it kind of, maybe that was part of the problem in that it was like, is this season we're going to take, maybe this season is going to be Din Djarin getting back to Mandalore and bathing in the, he's done that in episode 1. Maybe it's going to be that they're taking back Mandalore. They've done that. Maybe and now that they're fighting Moff Gideon as well. And he's got a clone army that he's done in a minute. And it was just, everything was like, and there was no real impact on any of those things because they hadn't earned them for me. So I didn't hate it. It just kind of drifted. My favourite episode actually was probably everyone else's least favourite, but it was the episode that didn't have really any Mandalorian in it, and it was the episode where we got all about the amnesty of the Imperial soldiers. Absolutely loved the world building in that episode. The idea that there's amnesty housing and jobs, and that people actually, the Republic was using machinery and methods of not torture, but it was the idea that they're not really any better than the Empire. They think they're so much better than the Empire, but they're still using these things to turn people, calm people. And I just loved it. And it's been a few weeks since I've seen it, so my views on it probably aren't as coherent as they could have been 4 or 5 weeks ago. But I was fascinated by the political sort of ideas of drawing people in from the Empire and putting them to use, and yeah, loved it. I thought that was really good. So
that.
I'll defer to you, Paul, because yeah, I haven't got a massive amount to say on it.
No, I'm completely with you on that. I always love those sorts of elements of story actually as well. I love to know those back bits and what's happening around it to give it real context to everything else that's going on. I thought this one looked amazing. The best of the three, the visuals.
Yeah, it looked really
particularly
good.
because I'm always now looking for what is the stage, what is the volume. It just looks excellent. Every planet, every set piece, they nailed the look of all the ships and everything as well. Apart from the pirates, but it doesn't really matter about them. They were this season's mod scooters, weren't they?
Pirate guy was great.
This was brilliant, and I was like, he does not
he looks
fit.
Terrible.
It is worse than Bill Nye prosthetics in Pirates of the Caribbean, but he does not fit this at all. Such a Disney
His mouth just moved up and down as well, which I really liked. It was like a puppet.
Yeah, it was terrible. But I thought the whole series looked really good.
Yeah.
I think it was spot on, Chris. I did think, this is what they're telling this series. Oh no, they've done it. Oh, this is what they're telling this series. They've done it. Moff Gideon came a little bit out of nowhere.
Yeah, I thought that was a season 4 reveal again.
Yeah, and I thought
they've been teasing it though, hadn't they? Throughout the whole series.
They had, but surely the Empire, or what's left of the Empire, trying to extract the Force to put into other soldiers is a massive thing. That's a movie on its own, and it was almost like, oh yeah, that's why I Grogu.
It's just a throwaway.
It did feel a bit throwaway.
It was very much like Palpatine coming back in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
that's what it was like. He's survived. Oh, okay, we don't know. She's actually Palpatine. Okay,
but that's really where I think what they were trying to do, wasn't it? I think they were doing all the. This is all part of the same research that eventually leads to Snoke and to Palpatine coming back.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, agreed.
I mean,
I know the reasoning behind it. It's just a bit rushed.
Maybe exactly. I think that's Chris hit it on the head. It was just felt a bit rushed. It was like they've quickly got to crowbar this, because if he hadn't have said that line, it would make no difference. You could still reveal, even though he's died, or as he died, I'm sure he has at the end. You can still go into another season or whatever you tell next chapter in this era about that being what they were doing. But that one line in it just felt a bit unnecessary. It felt a bit Bond villain.
Yeah, it was a bit.
I do think probably in season 2, at the end of season 2, when they had the showdown on the cruiser, that's when they could have shown more of that. And definitely Gideon's suit, badass suit, they could have brought that in earlier, because that did feel like a waste until. Because I always wondered why he was wearing such an elaborate suit.
Yeah.
And it did look like it was going to do more than it ever did, and then of course it did, and it was cool. But like, if I tell you what it reminded me of, Paul, you'll probably know this from that. What's the Alex Ross painted series they did, and Batman had like a metal scheme. It looks just like that anyway.
Yeah. It's going to annoy me now. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It wasn't called Justice, was it?
No, it wasn't Justice. No, it was.
Anyway, no, it was Doug Braithwaite, who actually did the pencils, but Alex Ross painted it, whatever it was called.
Justice. Not Injustice, not Justice. I do know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that cool thing. That's what that suit looked like. I think I liked the pirate episode. Thought that was fun. I like the whole Grief Cargo in his stupid magistrate costume. I just thought super funny. And the way that he calls Mando in front of a group of Mandos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racist.
Mando!
Yeah. You can't call, only we can use that word.
Yeah. Not cool, old man. And then, I mean, even I love the episode when they went to Mandalore, and having R5, and
I enjoyed the series.
Yeah, I didn't have an episode I didn't like.
I enjoyed watching it again. I looked forward to Wednesdays coming. It was enjoyable. I've liked all this Star Wars era. I like the Book of Boba Fett as well. I've liked everything that we've been getting. I was okay with Andor. It was a real slow burner for me.
It picked up, didn't it?
It picked up. It was great. But I liked everything they've done. I thought, excuse me, I thought this was a solid series. I would absolutely take a season 4, but I would absolutely take anthology world building within the framework of whatever the lead character is. You might as well call it The Mandalorian, because we've all established now you can have a show about Boba Fett and have 3 episodes with no Boba Fett, and you can have a series called The Mandalorian and have 2 or 3 episodes without any Mandalorians as well. And I think we all get that because it's trying to tell something
one story.
Quite rightly. Why not? It's always been a shared universe, Star Wars, whether it's books, comics, games, movies, whatever. So why not play into it? It's the perfect time to do it. The technology's there to be able to deliver these shows. You've got actors again queuing up to want to be involved in it. You've got some of the best Star Wars fans that are actual, like, proper. I think better to be a movie maker first and a fan second, because then you've got all the know-how that you need to do it. You've got the best combinations, so it's an exciting time.
Do you think Bryce Dallas Howard will get a Star Wars movie? Because I think her episodes of The Mandalorian have probably been some of the best out of all 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, she's not slated at the moment, but I think it's definitely I think
she will.
I mean, the other thing that definitely says to me that they're having another season is the fact they've now brought on what's his face as another executive producer, Rick
Fumioka.
Yeah. And that was only really announced at Celebration, so they're definitely making another series.
Yeah. So, sometimes best TV directors or producers don't turn to the best movie people, but she's more than capable because she's been around movies all her life, and she couldn't have had a better upbringing than being around movies with her dad, for definite.
Yeah, and she was a brilliant Gwen Stacy.
And her dad has directed a Star Wars film as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Half
Star Wars film.
2/3 of the Star Wars film.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he didn't do it solo, did he?
He didn't do it solo.
No, he didn't do it solo.
Yeah, I'd love Bryce to do one, actually. I think I can't tell you guys how excited I am about the Acolyte, and I think that show being showrun by a female probably has.
That's going to be well old, though, isn't it? The Acolyte? Is that one set millions of years ago or thousands of years ago? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think this is really got opportunity to bring in a different voice in a range of creators. So again, I think Bryce might have a good place in there as well. I don't know.
Look, it's a big enough sandpit for all these people to play. Now they've clearly got a preferred 5 or 6 people that they want to work with, and stopping all this bullshit they've had the last few years about, you get a Star Wars movie, you get a Star Wars movie, you get a Star Wars movie, everyone gets a Star Wars movie.
I didn't get one. But yeah, the world we're in such a good place with Star Wars. I mean, I am so excited for Ahsoka. I can't tell you how excited I am.
Ahsoka's going to be amazing.
August is
Temper your enthusiasm, young Jedis.
I can't.
Temper your enthusiasm.
Cannot.
Calm. Set your expectations.
It's going to be epic. I know
okay.
it is. I'm not going to
set your expectations.
That's lower.
I'm not going to set it. I'm not going to set it.
So
it's going to be amazing. I know it is. It's going to be cool.
Cool.
Well, I mean, anything else to say on The Mandalorian?
No, good. Enjoyed it. More of this era, please.
Yeah, likewise. Pretty much all the same. I thought it was really good. I didn't hate any of it. Just meandered a bit.
Yeah. The MVP, General Grievous.
I thought so.
What do you think of Jedi Survivor, Chris?
I think it's a game with an amazing story. And there's a lot of game in it, if that makes sense. There's more game in this than there was in the last one. There's more things to do. There's more powers, more things to do with your lightsaber. There's more ways to get around. All these things that make the game bigger and engross you in it a little bit more. But man, this game is glitchy as fuck. Like, it's bad.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation 5 version is apparently the most stable version. I've watched some reviews of the PC version that say the game is unplayable.
Oh my God.
It almost reminds me of like Cyberpunk 20 whatever it was that came out a couple of years ago. It's that bad.
Wowza.
But I've not had too many issues, but I have glitched through walls and seen eyeballs on the inside of NPCs' heads and all sorts of weird things. But they've not, they've only been minor, and then 10 seconds later it's gone. I've not had the unfortunate sort of game breaking glitches of the PC version.
I think that's always the downside of getting a game when it first comes out these days.
There's a great quote that someone said that when you spend the most on a game, you're getting the worst version of the game.
Agreed.
Because as the game gets cheaper, more patches come out, and the game becomes more fixed. But I did think that for a single player, story-driven game, there shouldn't have been this many glitches, especially when it's a sequel and all they're doing is they're using the same system to build it, albeit with greater graphics and a larger world, that there shouldn't have been this level of problems.
Yeah.
One of my guys, I was actually having on a scene where my character walked in, talked to two people, and then stopped moving. And a wall should have come up and we should have walked through it, but the wall never came up, so nothing happened. We all stood there and they were doing their sort of like ambient animations of like sort of standing, scratching and just standing there. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Should I be waiting? And I waited for nearly 10 minutes and then I had to turn the game off and back on again and then did it again and the wall just came straight up and we walked through it. And it was just like, oh my God.
That's like
Sorry.
our boss started a PowerPoint presentation standing in front of the screen. Just going ambient, or was it ambient character movement?
Yeah, I don't know. I was coming up with words. Sorry. It was just.
I'm going to be using that. Oh, here we go. Jamie's ambient character movement.
I don't think he's a non-player character anyway.
He's a non-playable character. Yeah.
Well, what do you think of it, Cole?
I've loved it.
Good.
I just said I spoke to Chris before we came on because I was stuck. I'm literally on the first boss. And just could not beat him. And it's so frustrating because I don't really class myself as a gamer. I like playing games. I've had a PlayStation since PlayStation 1. But I generally play about 4 games on each console. I normally get a game and just play that game, and it takes me a long time to play them normally. And things like Battlefront, I will just play that forever. I'll still play Battlefront 1 on the PS4. On the PS4 all the time, but obviously I can play games, and I like story games. This is my favourite type of game. I love this sort of very cinematic. It's almost like a movie that you're playing. I love that kind of game, especially. And generally, I only buy those games that I'm really interested in. So, like it'll be a superhero one or a known brand. Normally, the only difference to that was Uncharted. I've loved all of those, but I don't like it too open world. I don't like to have to work out where I've got to go. I like it to be very clear what I've got to do and where I've got to go. I'm quite a simple gamer. And I guess what's happened with this boss was it has a big red lifeline at the top. And then when you're fighting the boss, you also get a little white lifeline. That's what I thought it was. And you have to keep knocking down that light. And it wasn't really doing much to the red line. And I was just repeating the same moves, the same fights, and constantly just dying, like getting through like 4 lives like that. And I ended up ringing Chris saying I'm really pissed off with this game because it's so repetitive and boring. Am I doing something wrong? Because do I have to do something different? And it turns out I need to actually attack, because I didn't realise that little white line was a blocking thing, not a lifeline. And so that was when you're supposed to attack when that goes down. I didn't realise that. Right. I just thought I had to keep on blocking so I didn't die. But yeah. Anyway, so as soon as I worked that out, Chris, I killed her straight away.
Brilliant.
But
it's always
I don't know. Is it too complex for me in my old brain? I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, it does feel more expansive than the first. You saying you don't like open world games. I don't like open world games either. And these are larger, less linear worlds than they were before, but they do very much have to do the main objective, you need to go through that tunnel or that cave or that door. And if you don't want to go off and explore, all you do is you follow that, that beacon and you carry on with the main storyline. And then once you start those sorts of things, it's still as linear as it was before. You jump in, you wall run in, all those sorts of things.
Yeah. I mean, it's complex as well. There's a lot of new moves to remember and different
things
there are. To do.
And stances and stuff, yeah.
And like with the first game, which was annoying, like he almost had to relearn to use the Force. And so you gradually got a new power throughout the game. Whereas in this, you've already got shitloads of stuff going on.
Yeah,
you've got to remember
it's
what
nice.
buttons are, which is good. But then there's more shitloads of stuff happening that I've got to learn. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's even more powers and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. But like almost like
beautiful. It looks amazing.
In that first bit, you get so many different things to learn straight away. I'm like, wow. And none of them work on the main boss either, which is great.
No, they don't, do they? No, because it's the Inquisitor, isn't it? Is it Ninth Sister or something? Or what was she? I don't know.
Yeah, Ninth Sister. Anyway, it's good so far.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great game. I'm loving it.
I would have had a very different take on it if I hadn't fucking beat that boss before I came on here. So I wasted a lot of time trying to play that game. Cool. Anyway, anything else to talk about, chaps?
No, not for me. Not this week.
Good roundup.
Just the last Star Wars thing. I saw Return of the Jedi at cinema on Sunday.
Excellent.
I didn't get awesome. I was annoyed.
Yeah, they ran out of pretty much everywhere. They ran out on the first day or something.
Yeah.
I think you'll find there'll be a lot of posters going up for sale from Odeon and Cineworld employees, I would imagine.
What does vex me is, like, I see every now and then on Facebook or whatever a picture of someone. Oh yeah, I went and got the poster from the cinema. Didn't go to see the film. They just went to cinema and got the poster.
That's annoying.
Like fuckers. Anyway, never mind. It seems that it's done quite well in the box office in America. It was in the top 5 in the US this weekend. So.
Well, it's on future, that film.
I will ask you before you go. Have you guys planned to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3 at the cinema? Are you booking tickets to see it, or will you not?
I will see it.
It comes out tomorrow, doesn't it?
Yeah. I will see it. I will see it this week. The first one was unbelievably amazing. I loved it. The second one I didn't like at all. I would obviously need to complete the set off. I don't have high hopes for it, to be honest. I think it might be a little bit too James Gunn, which is not ideal. Not totally up my street, but obviously I need to finish off and see it, and I'm sure it'll be fine. But I'm not as mega excited about it as I would be for one of the other characters. I think is my summary.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it this week. I just don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be one that you're going to have to see soon if you don't want to be spoiled, though, because obviously it's the end of a trilogy. People are dying. No two ways about it, unless he completely subverts and don't kill anybody. Who knows?
I've got tickets booked for Friday because it's a film that even my mum really enjoys. She likes Guardians of the Galaxy, so we're going with her and my dad and my brother as well. Yeah, so we're all going, making a day of it. So we're going to go this week. I'm fairly similar. I think I enjoy 2 more than you both, but I completely agree. It's nowhere near as good as the first.
There were some good bits of 2, but it just wasn't great overall.
But yeah, I've heard some good things about this one so far. I heard it's less funny and more emotional, and that sounds like spot on for me. So we'll see.
See, I like more funny, less emotional.
Oh, it's funny because I thought 2 was just jokes.
No, 2 just wasn't funny jokes.
I do agree with that. Like 2 went on.
I agree that they weren't funny, but I thought it was all jokes.
You know, when Groot was breaking them out of Taserface's prison, and he kept doing wrong things. It was hilarious for the first 2, and then after 9, I was like, okay, made the point.
Yeah. I don't like the serious side of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I don't mind it when he gets the balance right. He's spot on. The first film was almost perfection, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
That balance.
I thought the bit where Yondu died as well was really good.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah.
I'm really not looking forward to seeing sad things about Rocket. I think it's really putting me off watching it because I don't want to see
maybe
Rocket being tortured.
Maybe you won't. Well, you'll see some of that.
Yeah.
See some of that.
I'm looking forward to seeing the space dog, whatever his name is.
Cosmo.
Yeah.
She.
I'm hoping that Howard the Duck's in it again.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Ish.
Yeah, no, I am. I'm not looking forward to it.
I'll tell you what. When I went to the cinema to see Jedi, every trailer was made for me. They had the new Flash trailer. They had the Transformers trailer, which looks pretty good actually.
Mm-hmm.
They had Guardians of the Galaxy. They had what else is coming out?
Indiana Jones?
No, it didn't have that actually. There was something else that was really good as well. I was like, oh my god, there's a lot of films I want to watch that are coming out. I still want to see Renfield. I've
seen that. I went to the cinema to see that.
You saw it? Was it good?
Yeah, it's really good fun. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Very gory.
Was it gory?
Yeah, oh god, yeah. But it was that kind of heightened, stylized gore where it's gushing. Yeah, yeah, exactly like that. So the arms are being ripped off and heads are being ripped apart, and the blood's just everywhere, and none of it gets on their clothes. It was that kind of thing. But Nick Cage was incredible in it. I just wish he was in more of it. But it was really fun. We had a great time.
Cool. I'm definitely going to see that then.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, time to go. Paul, what do you want to plug?
Mighty Marvel Show on YouTube. At Mighty Marvel Show. Thanks very much. Toys and Marvel. And non-Marvel, actually. Loads of Mezco stuff.
Nice. It needs to be called Mighty Marvel and More.
Mighty Marvel and More.
Chris, what are you plugging?
Yep, Geek Figure Fan on YouTube. Thank you to all the people who've been watching. It's started really well.
Yay! And I want to promote nerdynostalgia.co.uk, the one-stop shop for all of your geeky nerdy needs, and it's got my art store on there, so you can look at my art and buy my art, and you can obviously get all links to these podcasts, and I need to update it with Chris's new video on there. I need to put that on there, so give me a job to do, I guess. Thanks, Chris. That'd be cool. And also, if you want to buy my cards in person, you can go to Nerdbase in Battlebridge and in Cirencester. They are both stocking my cards, and I can't remember the name of the shop in Cardiff off the top of my head. Galactic Attic. That is it. They have some of my cards as well. So buy my cards and tell them you want more. Cool.
Do you remember this bit?
I'm just trying to remember it.
If you can't remember, it's fine.
We know.
You just say goodbye.
Yeah,
no, we can't just say goodbye. We can tell you that you've been fantastic. I've been fantastic. Punch it, Cheery. Geronimo. I don't want to go. Viva Las Vegas. Pull that candelabra out. It's my turn at urinal.
Nailed it.
This episode needed a make it so or a this is the way in there as well. I think.
Why didn't you jump in with one?
Edit it in.